Hello everyone, and welcome to Seaview Quantum Network. I'm your presenter Daniel, and I'm here with producer Claudia Pareco. Our opening song features Sunset Serenade by Cyclone. Albums and singles are available in all music stores and platforms. A moment of your time is one of the most extraordinary gifts we could ever be given. Each week, we create a place for you to rest your heart by providing the platform for peaceable connection to the most gifted lightworkers, intuitives, alternative healers who will surprise you with something different, something outside of what's expected, innovative and unique. Our shows are held on Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern U.S. time and 9 a.m. Pacific time. At any moment to participate on our shows, please call 805-830-8344 and press 1 to talk with the host. Take My Call. At any moment before or during the show, you can opt for Take My Call and jump the long line of callers. We are now following the pay what you can business model. You pay what you feel our services are worth to you. You can send a payment using paypal.me/PURECO and add the amount that you want. To request a show, please write to Claudia Pareco at cview1111@gmail.com or visit our website, cview1111.net. Now, close your eyes and get in touch with the present, the only reality. Feel your body, feel your breath, and let it drift back to the present moment.
Thank you, Danny, and welcome everybody to Seaview 2023. Today we have the first episode of our seasonal show, Conversations with the Sword of Truth, Siobhan Nicolaou. And today we are talking about finding joy within the process of healing. So when I was talking to Siobhan just minutes before the show, she was explaining me that many times healing with joy can really wire your brain towards the positive. Healing with joy or finding joy while in the process of healing is very important because in her experience, many of her patients or her clients, when they are dealing with all the trauma, all the things have been bothering in their life, many feel discouraged, or maybe you feel, and you feel it too, is that as you started the process of healing, you are only noticing the bad when there is so much good, so much light, so much things to be joyous. And she's going to help us with that. But also, Siobhan offers soul readings from Spirit, where Spirit's focus will be on the key areas of your life that requires your awareness and refinement, revealing clues to your greater purpose. So, during today's show, Siobhan is offering a 15-minute oral reading to that person that sends her an email. And it would be out of the blue. She's going to pick one to whoever writes to Siobhan. And you can get a 15-minute oral reading that will help you through the colors of your aura and identify issues and gifts associated with what you're feeling, what you're seeing. For that, please go to write to Siobhan at sovereignmastery@gmail.com. That is S as in Sam, O, V as in Victor, E, R, E, I, G as in Gabriel, N as in Nancy, mastery@gmail.com. And now let's bring Siobhan, and also you can go to her website, SiobhanNicolaou.com. That is even harder. So it's SIOB as in Brian, HA, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, ICO, L as in Larry, AOU.com. Siobhan, welcome to today's show. I am so excited to have you here because you always give us perspective. I like the way that you explain how the light, how the divine works within you. So thank you for being here.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure. Yeah, we feel that today's topic, as you know, we come into spring, everyone gets a little bit of lift and, you know, a little bit more sunlight in certain areas, and it just brings up the feelings of joy. And I noticed for my own healing process that when I was going through the shadows, when I had so many more in the earlier years, that it was difficult at times to find the joy in the process. And so we don't mean that there is really joy in the process. There's joy that you have to remember while you're processing. So what we mean by that is with the tools that we show people how to use to transmute the negative emotion within the physical body, you really work with the tools of the golden light meditation first, and that helps you awaken the spirit within matter. It helps you connect with the truth of who you are, which is the love that you are and the light that gives it life. And so when you do that, and then we get you to working with the shadows that arise from the depths in the process, this discovery process, most often people will on something. In other words, something will come into their awareness from a trauma. Now, we're really big proponents on not focusing on the story, because the story doesn't matter. It's how you felt about what happened, not what happened. And that's really important, because the mind is always wanting to grab a hold of something, get its teeth into it, and think it to death. And then you've lost touch with the work itself. So one of the things we reiterate often in the Golden Light meditations is do not think about what you see and don't think about what you feel, because that enables you to be the presence of love through the process of the transformation of the emotional energy. So it's much, it's much easier. The more that you do it, like anything else, you train yourself like you would when you're playing a violin, for instance. You have to learn how to hold it under your chin. You have to learn the placement of the fingers, and you just work with it a little bit until you find your comfort spot, and then, you know, you learn how to hold the bow, and then it becomes automatic. You know, it becomes very easy. It becomes very streamlined. It becomes natural. It becomes a flow, just like dancing. And this is exactly why people love to do those things, because they're not thinking when they're doing it. So this is another way to help you get there. So when people go through the process of allowing, not going in there for any particular reason unless something comes up in external reality, you know, it's a way of, love is a placeholder. But then what happens is when we discover something that arises, then we, even after the session of transforming that layer of this emotion, we want to think about it afterward. And when we do that, it can really keep us down. It's like it keeps us aligned with the wound. And sometimes that's not easy to do, is to really remember who you are. But it is important that we really try to do that, because the truth of who you are is this joy. It is the love, the prosperity, and joy. And everything that's not that is what's not real. And so it's a matter of taking your little child by the hand consciously, because all the work we do is about making consciousness conscious, whether it's awakening the light within the body until it knows itself to be the light that it is, or whether it's working with the wounded child to bring the child around to the truth of itself, which is that it is light and there's only light, and it can play, you know, in that way. So after these sessions, we can allow our energy to stay kind of low. I knew that, before I would feel it like I would be torn open. Now that's really okay, in the way that we just know that that's where we are. And if we have the benefit of being able to be by ourselves, this is a process of love, and love doesn't care, it just loves. And so even if you are raw after your work, whatever it might be, it's important that you take the time to continue to work with the light of love, the golden light in this dimension, to be the nurturing presence of that love, to keep you connecting to it again and again and again. So the vibration of you doesn't go, up or down, it stays even. Golden light has a way of doing that. It keeps you on an even keel. There's no spikes and dips. But you can hit some issues within your emotional body that want to bring you down. And so if it's just a raw state, fill it with the golden light. Allow yourself to be calm. Allow yourself to feel love. Allow yourself to be alone. I found it real helpful to do that, to just be alone, to go out and walk. And then, it's more than just thinking positive thoughts, but they really help. It's like speaking from the love that you are to the part that is still wounded, whatever it is, because it doesn't all go away at a time. People tend to go in and they discover the angry child, and the child is then able to express that anger, and then you transform it with golden light. But that's just a part of the anger. It's not the whole ball of wax. There are many, many levels of anger in that one emotion, and there's a whole lot of loving you between the awareness of what happened and the ability to truly come to forgiveness. So it's important. I remember in my earliest days, I always had to be in a place where the sun was out all the time, because I had to be busy and I had to be creating my joyful experience out in the world, because that's how I knew where to find it. And the more that I learned how to connect to the light that I am and work with that consciousness of the sunshine, of the sunlight, of this nourishment, the less that became important. And now it doesn't matter whether the sun is out or, it's raining for 2 weeks at a time or whatever. We're all experiencing that anywhere we are on the globe. Like the weather can do anything. But if we make our happiness, our joy conditional, it can be kind of tough. And so things don't have to be anything, they don't have to be sunshine and rainbows all the time to feel that. It helps to be able to nurture the connection of the love that you are. So when you're going through these healing processes, and like for me, it's the way of being. It's the way of life. I just don't wait until something comes up. I'm self-aware enough to notice the wobble within my energy to love myself and transform whatever is there, like kind of on the spot. So it does evolve to a much more rapid experience in the way of being, rather than a sitting down and having to do. But I find that people do get discouraged, and they don't even want to go into the emotional body. They're afraid of what's down there. And it just, the whole point is joy, and to love yourself through the process. And if you're just allowing yourself the process, then you're going to find more joy.
Siobhan, I remember at one point in my healing process that I asked myself, it was like on those moments of desperation where something comes up and again you feel some certain way, and I remember this question popped in my mind, and it was like, okay, so how much time do you have for yourself? And when I was asked that question, I was like, wow, all the time. And then it was like, like I don't have to set myself to, okay, I need 2 weeks to have these results. It's like, how much time do you have for yourself? And it's endless. It's like, I can dedicate all the time that I want for myself. And that relieves me a lot of the idea of, oh, no, I only have two days to finish. No, it's like, how much time do you have for yourself?
It's really healing, and love is a way of being. And I think that's a good point, a really good point, because so many people, over the decades that I've been in this industry, with this way of life, I've observed so many more people that go to weekend workshops and they're just figuring it's going to be over. If they keep going to those weekend workshops, it's going to be over. And it's never over. It's just that it gets easier to love yourself. And so people get disappointed. They say, when I bring them to the Golden Light Tools, they're like, I've been doing this work for this long. And I'm like, yeah, well, how's that working for you? Because they're not in a place that they expected to be using the tools that they have. And, when I came into the healing arts, if you will, my wake-up call, it was all about straight-up channeling. And that's what I did in the beginning. And for me, my whole path wasn't to continue in that way. I was brought to the Golden Light Tools by my entourage that I was channeling, because they were encouraging me to go down this other road within myself to realize that I was all that I needed. That all I was looking for was actually within me. And so rather defiantly, I just said, oh, yeah, well, I feel that's true, but I couldn't make sense of it with my mind. And you really have to do the inner work to arrive at whether that's truth for you or not. And so I did it, and son of a gun, it's true. And you just keep doing it. But people they get frustrated, and they want to throw in the towel because they just don't want to give themselves the time that it requires. And we have tools now where, we're teaching you how to be that way and stay connected in the moment. So you're not getting off track as much as before. And I have to laugh. We just go, okay, I'm going to go to this weekend workshop. It's going to fill me up, and then I'll be okay till about Friday. And then, if you haven't really gotten the tools to stay connected within you, then it kind of drops off. And so, or we sit down and we meditate and we connect in the morning, and we get up and we disconnect and go right out into the world and then connect again in the evening. But the tools now are really designed to help you stay in that place, that consciousness of the love that you are, not just with your thinking that you're there, but really working consciously with the energy of the being that you are within the form, so you can have that experience all the time. And if all you have to do is be consistently in the light of love for everything to come to the truth of itself, which is love, then why would we do anything else? Everything else becomes some other fascinating way to try to get you to the point of the peace that you're reaching for within you. And so there's nothing wrong with anything people do. I'm not saying that at all. I think everyone has a piece to the puzzle. And we just feel that we have a piece to the puzzle that tends to help even the modalities that have been around for a long time really evolve into a different state. It's like the transformational piece, the flashpoint of the transformation. It's not a mental exercise. It's the whole of you working together to reclaim itself as the wholeness that it wants to experience. And so this is about the experience of yourself as love, where there is joy, rather than just knowing that there's joy and continuing to look for it. We encourage people to stay with it.
We have a question from someone in the chat, and it's about finding joy where you don't think there is. Like she says, Siobhan, could you please help me? How is it? Can I find a more joyful and abundant job very soon? I am at a job where most people are just harsh and mean. I always do my best to have a better life and don't understand why I am in such a situation when I know that I deserve much better. Please help.
Oh, God bless. Well, I work with a lot of corporate clients, and what they're faced with is being a lovely being, like this gal is, and finding the workplace to be anything but welcoming, cooperative, abundant, anything like that. And so it's like having a functional mindset going into a very dysfunctional environment and trying to be functional within the dysfunction. So you might as well move back home. That's what it kind of feels like. It's just like, oh my God, I thought I left this when I grew up, and here you're faced with all these reflections again. But you see, we really do create this reality from the inside out, and that's why we work with people to show them how to do that from the inside out. Most of what people experience in the way of, working on themselves is outside in. And it's not lasting. You get a massage and it might just really help your body relax, but then it tenses back up because you don't know how to communicate with the body. It's, connect these dots to keep you in that state of allowing, because relaxation is allowing. And so in this case, we would work with this person to teach them how to manage their energy and how to pay attention through self-awareness as to how they feel, and then show them how to go into the physical body where emotional energy lives and transform it. Because everything in this universe, in this reality here anyway, is based in resonance. And so if you have being hurt, in a harsh environment, which I know what that's about because that was my home life, we learn that we don't feel safe in our vulnerability. And so we curl up and curl in rather than expand in the love that we are, where nothing can hurt us. So true vulnerability is being able to stand in the love that you are so strongly that nothing can hurt you. And so we show people how to nurture the connection that is inward, so they can watch how their external reality changes as a result. Because love helps reality change, but of its own free will. And love is the language of wholeness, which is different from, well, I'm going to do this to get that. If I do this, then it will change this out here, which is, by definition, manipulation. So love is a different language. It is a way of being, and that vibration affects everything around it. Not because it wants it to change, but because it offers it a different vibration so it can. So if we go to the office and we're just pushing people away in avoidance in this dimension, that's resistance. And anytime you have resistance, it pushes back. It's a law of physics. And so if you go into the office and you learn how to manage your energy in love, you're in this non-resistant state, which is allowing you. And we encourage people and show people how to keep their energy more inward, so that they're not in their head about what's happening. Because as soon as you're in your mind and thinking about the condition, you're part of the condition. When you learn how to manage your energy and stay centered, right above the navel, right where you can listen to the silence, which is spirit, then you're moving around in a mindless way, which I laugh because I'm all about mindlessness, even though I think it's, I'm more mindless. I don't like to think. I'm on a need-to-know basis. I listen for the answer. I don't go to the head for it. So you learn how to pretend, how to protect yourself in this non-resistant way, by learning how to manage your spirit energy and how to communicate with it consciously. And I've seen people's absolute lives turn around from when they start working with me. And it's, 2 years, 3 years, every week, for an hour. We just take people up and we help them raise the bar and they raise the bar. And so as they work within themselves with these tools of non-resistance, then everything does change of its own free will. It has to respond in resonance. And if there's no resistance, there's nothing for that, those hurtful conditions to grab onto. So if it tries to get your attention, but you're not giving it any attention, and you've learned to love yourself enough so you're not taking it personally, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that. So we work with people to help them. If you look around, we can get just like this young lady here, it's like, why are we doing this? This is just a mean place, this planet. But really it's about us coming to love within ourselves so that we experience more of that in the world, not wishing everybody would change so we can feel better about ourselves. So I hope that was helpful. But yeah, we love working with people like this because they're the ones that are here to wake up and be this little light bulb everywhere. It's not about what you do in the world. It's who you are, who you bring to the table. And I don't care what kind of job you have. People think that to be spiritual in the world, to be loving the world, you have to, quit your day job, get a minibus and put on Jesus saddles and drive around and do nothing. And it's not what it is. It's not intended for that. Not everybody's called to that. It's about being in the world as you are right now and transforming your way out of the condition. And if the job is less than satisfying, we think that you're just in a job maybe that was imposed upon you is what it feels like. This idea about what it means to be successful, this idea about what it means to be able to provide for yourself. And all of those preconceived notions, they're all false. But it takes, a while to learn how to love yourself enough to allow Spirit to give you everything that you want. You just have to be open to receive it. And that's a truth. That was based, I think, in religion. God will provide. I think that's actually a Catholic saying. And that is absolute true. But when people hear that, it resonates as truth for them, that there's so much ego within them, which is edges anything good out is what that means. It edges God out. That's what ego stands for. So there's a whole lot of transformation between, you knowing that truth and that truth being the experience that then you live. And so just honoring yourself where you are, saying, I'm not powerless in this condition. The power that I have, my superpower is love. And I can go in and see how this love that I am connected to within myself positively influences everything around me. And I can't believe how much nicer people are to me because I'm not in resistance of the conditions. They can't even go there.
That is lovely. So we have a caller. We have a couple of callers and more people in the chat room. So you want to go with Mary in North Carolina?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Mary.
thank you for. Hey, I'm so excited to get to connect with you. I really don't know what to ask. I have multiple health issues, and I'm just been alive, staying alive, I guess, through the grace of God, through grace of Spirit.
Correct.
So maybe you can just ask my question for me.
Okay, so health issues here. Well, I can tell you from my own experience what we do, the Golden Light works to overcome these things. So everything here is light. That science is now proving that. Many of us have known that for a long time. Finally, it makes sense to people because it's coming through the vein of science. Well, I don't care as long as people understand that that's true. And so when we look at love, we look at it as a vibrational frequency. And it's more than that because it is a consciousness. And when I say it in your terms, it would be the love of God. And in even other people's terms, it would be, Yeshua. And in other people's terms, it would be Jesus. And whatever. It is what this dimension is literally made of, is the love of God. So there's not anything in this dimension that can't be experienced on that level, including things that are happening vibrationally within the physical body. Now, I've had personal experience with several things that I don't go out looking at myself as something being wrong with it. And you see that in and of itself, when we get triggered and we're like, there's something wrong with me that needs to be healed. Now, that's not the consciousness of the love that you're proclaiming, because that consciousness never saw anything as sick. When that consciousness saw somebody in their sickness, or it never saw it that way. It saw them in their health and in that they were healed. So that's what Jesus did. He literally saw them as the truth of who they were and in that they were healed. So if we approach our physical conditions with the consciousness of the love of God, all that consciousness wants to do is be the presence of love in the presence of that which doesn't know itself to be the love that it is, until it surrenders and becomes less and then transforms. I've never found one thing within me, no matter how dark that shadow appeared, that would not eventually come to know itself to be the truth of itself. That it takes commitment. When something has manifested on a physical level already, that becomes a little more difficult because we get scared, and fear is not love. You just stand there in love, knowing that your wholeness. You have to have a completely different conversation with yourself in order to relate to the condition as consciousness rather than division, which keeps the disease alive. Because in this dimension, we're looking at everything as something as separate or good and bad, but when you see it for what it really is, it changes the way you relate to it. It happens with the physical healing within myself that I've experienced. It happens with the homes that I heal. The houses are just like physical bodies. They get emotional energy in them in the same way. And over time, if it's never dealt with, then they just decay and become full of other emotional energy that people want to call ghosts and things like that. But it's really just emotional energy floating around, trying to keep you in fear, because as long as you're in fear, then it has you in the game of separation. And so there's no separation in love. And so for you, my dear, I would love if you reached out to me on in my email. I would be happy to send you a complimentary MP3 of a meditation that I have, so you can acquaint yourself with the vibration of the love that you are truly made of, which is the love of God. And just work with it and allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to relax. I know when I had COVID a couple years ago, I just didn't panic about it. I didn't really care. I just went in and I, because I've been doing this a long time, seeing myself as the golden light that I am and thanking God for my perfect health. Not in denial of or in fear of, but in love. And I had a very easy time with it. First 3 days were kind of a blur, because when you're focused in the truth of who you are, you're focused in higher consciousness. And there's no time there. It's beautiful. It just is. And that's what you're made of. And so it's what we are as humans conditioned to believe about this reality that gets in the way. And there were so many beautiful golden light masters like Jesus and Buddha and things that tried to tell us that, there is another way. But the way that we're taught that way is still in the language of separation. And so it's really just working with yourself to overcome that, to know yourself to be the love that you are. It's approaching it from a completely different language and consciousness.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, thank you so much. I will reach out to you. Thank you. This is so helpful. Thank you so much.
So welcome. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to California, and we have Donna.
Hi, thank you. Hello. How are you?
Good.
I have a question. At night, and this has been going on for like 2 months, I'm in an apartment. There's a girl above me, and every night I'll hear like heavy footsteps back and forth, and I was hearing noises in the walls. That went away, but I'm still hearing the footsteps, and then when I wake up, it's gone. And then I went upstairs to meet the girl, and she's a tiny little thing, so there's no way she's making that noise. Is that the spirits trying to tell me something?
Well, you feel like a pretty sensitive being to me.
I am.
Yeah, and this is part of what you have not really developed to the extent that you could. I think you're aware of it, but you're also afraid of it at the same time. What you're experiencing are definitely echoes from energy that is there. And this is more about you learning how to deal with those things better, because there are definitely ways you can do that to bring yourself some peace. We actually teach a 6-month course on that type of thing, where
really,
like you can finally get some peace around. You get tools, you get information, you get practice. There's homework. There's all kinds of fun things that you do. But yeah, we absolutely do. So yes, it's trying to get your attention, but when you don't know what to do with the attention that with the information, then it can be kind of crazy making. It doesn't feel like you're getting a lot of sleep.
No, not really, because I don't think it's that heavy of a sleep because of this.
Correct. And that's not
tired.
Really, it doesn't bode well for you being able to be calm within yourself and knowing how loved you are and knowing that you're safe and how to feel, how to be connected to, the love that you are in a non-resistant way. It's acknowledging what's there without, you learn how to communicate with it, not just with the mind, because the mind wants to say, go away or this and that. And we show people how to deal with these things. And so then you can get some rest, and then you can feel safe. And, you know, we give you all the tools that you need to be able to deal with this more effectively. And then look out, Donna, because you'd probably be called to the service in some way.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere you go, you have these experiences.
What's your website? How can I get a hold of you to find out about these classes and courses?
Well, my website is a real good place for that. It's myname.com, and so that's S as in Sam, I, O, B as in boy, H, A, N, N, I, C, O, L, A, O, U.com. Yeah. If the 6 months is too long for you to take a course, we can truncate it for you and do it in 3 if you'd like. But we'll talk to you about what it is you need. But we'd be happy to help you. And like I say, you experience this more in just places that you live, is my feeling.
Yes. That's so true. I do. Yeah, I go to my sister's, I experience it. I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It used to be marching. I'd experienced marching, but that's gone away. But but I have seen spirits before. I have seen them.
Yep.
And I have heard them before. I've heard their actual voice in the middle of my head. And,
I'm sure.
So
yeah, I can see that.
Kind of a medium in a way, I'm thinking.
You think? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we can give you all the tools and things you need so you can help people or just, so don't worry about that. Great to meet you, Donna. Yeah.
Let me just go over the website. It's SIOBHANNICOLAOU.com.
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful.
And
okay, I'll be in touch.
You can get it on her advertisement. Claudia's, wherever you got this link, I'm sure you can go to her information. It's there too.
Yeah, you have information.
We'd love to help you. We would love to help you.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, you bet.
You have a nice day.
Thank you, Donna.
Bye. You too, Donna.
Thank you, Claudia.
You're welcome. And I have a question from the chat room, and this is from it says it's from a person but her nickname here is Joy, Fun, and Happiness. If you have a time, Siobhan, can you let us know how do we release shame or negative emotions?
Absolutely. Well, we don't like to use the terminology release because it's not as easy to be aware of it and then so it is. You can't cut something off and just see it and watch it go away because it's impossible to separate you from that which you are. There is nothing that is separate from your experience. It's all you're experiencing is some part of you. So in the way of shame, when we look at the word release, if you take that word and separate it, it's like signing a lease all over again. I release it, I cut it off, I move it out, I see it go away. But that's all mental and finding, holding yourself in some sort of, like some part of you is bad. And the essence of you is love, the essence of everything. There are no opposites in truth. Yes, this dimension is made of duality, but what we call it is a game. And as long as you are in the way of seeing yourself as bad, you stay in the game of duality. Instead, what we would teach you how to do through working with you with the Golden Light meditation and teaching you how to breathe down deeper in that body, because we can feel you not breathing deeply at all. It's much nicer for you in your own way to stay in this joy, happiness place. Well, this is the nature of your being, but there are parts of you like this shame that you push away, trying to and believing that there's something wrong with you, and love never sees anything that's wrong with you. And so we would show you how to breathe deeper into that body and feel safe in that body of yours, and then show you how to be the love that you are, to approach, to be the presence of love that you are for this part of you that is holding on to this energy within the physical body that doesn't know that it too is love. All there is love, and that which doesn't know itself to be the love that it is. And in the unwavering presence of love made conscious, it will eventually come to the truth of itself. Some of these negative emotions, as I've found doing this work, continuing to do it for over 30 years, and just is the thousands of these different, veils of one emotion. that, the vibrational frequency gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until one day it'll just transform. And then everything that would come up, that, the shadow has its purpose here. It's doing everything it can to own as many souls as it possibly can. And so it's going to try to mess with your head, and it's going to put you in situations where it reflects that shame in resonance that you feel inside of yourself. And the most powerful thing you can do is to learn the tools of working with the golden light to transform that energy so it has less and less and less of an appearance in your reality. And then you'll think you got to it after 10 years and you haven't had it, and you're just, experiencing people who respect you and everything else. And then someone's going to come along and it'll be some deeper down energy of the same thing. But your ability to stay stabilized in the love that you are is so much stronger that you're just able to transform it without even having to sit down and do it. It's a process that you learn how to work with the love that you are, to stay in the form and to be present as often as possible. And so you're in this constant state of transformation, if you will. That's it. So we'd like you to realize that you are all of these aspects, and that the shame is nothing to be ashamed about. It's nothing to separate yourself out from as if it were something that is bad. There is a child in there that is holding on to that energy, and to let that child know that regardless, it was how it felt about what happened, not what happened, and that it wasn't her fault. Then there is an opportunity for you to transform this energy much quicker. So we don't have to experience duality here. Duality here is what everybody believes that we're here just to bang around in. But actually, there is no such thing as duality. There is no such thing as darkness. There is no such thing as evil. It shows up in a million ways to keep you in judgment, because as long as you're in judgment, it's got you in the game of duality. And the most powerful thing any of us can learn right now is how to just continually be that love, know that what's out there is there, don't give it any thought, because as soon as you think about it, it divides, and that keeps you in the game of duality. And we teach people how to get connected, make conscious the love that they are, and then how to address those shadows when they come up into the mind, when doubt wants to take you to the floor. And you learn how to minimize it and minimize it and minimize it. And then you learn how to stand so strongly in your light, that nothing can really get a hold of you. Sometimes you're not going to be perfect at times either. Sometimes we get caught in it, but then we know how to pull ourselves out by remembering who we are, because we've experienced more of who we are, because we make it our lifestyle. It's not just something you do. A lot of people do things to feel love, but it's really love as a way of being. So we teach you how to be the love that you are, so you can bubble around in the truth of who you are.
Thank you.
A lot of bubbles with this one.
Let's go to Connecticut, and let's bring Kat to the show.
What's that?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm just tuning in, so I'm not sure how you do your readings. Do you just want a question?
Oh, sure.
I guess finances, anything. The last number of years have been extremely difficult and lacking in everything. A lot of crises, misfortune.
In your personal life or in the world?
Personal life. And it seems like almost like a contract or astrological cycle. And I know I'm coming out of it. And I'm really ready for abundance in finances, love, peace. I mean, I've just been without so much. Just want to see if you can see what's coming ahead, if I've taken a shift.
Well, the thing that we'd like to emphasize about the shift that you're, asking for and undergoing is that when you continue to tell yourself that you're in lack and that you've gone without and that you still are in without and you're waiting,
You know what? I get corrected all the time. I'm just trying to describe
I'm not
correcting.
I'm trying to let you know, sweetie, that you have more power in this situation to turn it around than you realize, and it isn't just from positive thinking.
it's just I use those words to describe where I've come from and what I'm, trying to manifest and move forward with.
Okay. Well, where are you right now?
Actually, some amazing things, literally like 3 amazing things happened in one day. So I do believe there's been a shift.
Yeah,
and
focus on that.
I guess in my head I'm saying, okay, what's next? What's going to be manifested next? So I'm looking to see, is it finances changing, love coming into my life, peace?
Well, all of it can be made manifest in your life by what you choose to focus on. And we really encourage you, because of your determination and the depths of your spirit trying to tell you over and over that you're a worthy being, to just decide that you're worthy and take these shifts that are happening, like these 3 good things in this one day, and just stay focused on that and tell spirit, yep, I deserve to live the life I want to live, so help me make it happen. And you talk to your spirit in a loving way. You get out of bed every morning, or even before you get out of bed every morning, before you open those beautiful eyes, you just say, thank you, Spirit, for coming back into my body, because that's what happens, and giving me another day. And thank you for showing me that I am worthy just because I am here, and I am open to receive everything good that God wants to give me, and or whatever your language is, and just be open to receive it. We see your energy. We saw your energy shift tremendously from the story that you told when you came on here, and where you are right now and where you're going forward. So what we're saying is, you just got to make that decision and keep aligning with the joy, prosperity, and love that you are, and focus there and focus there and focus there, and you'll manifest more and more and more. So, yes, to answer your question, yes, there has been a shift. To move you forward with this shift is just that. Don't tell that story about how long you've been without anything, because it just brings the energy to a completely different place.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, so now we have caller Nuri here.
Hi.
Nuri?
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
I always have a connection with the angels.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them as colors, but not all the time.
Okay.
And sometimes I hear the energy, how it moves.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know if I have the gift of listening to them.
Yeah. What's really great about working with the angels is the more that you do it, the more you create what they call a devic seal within your awareness. And so what this does, it's like exercising any other muscle. You exercise the muscle with the angelic realms, and it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and then it's just the way that you maintain that connection. You don't have to try so hard. The colors, yes, they're beautiful. This is how they arrive to you to let you know that through your intuitive, the feeling of the color, who it actually is. And it's okay if you would like to give them a name, because when you establish a relationship with them in the way of color or name, then you can strengthen the relationship you have with that angel. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we call Archangel Michael, and the more we call on Michael, the more that we get the energy of that name, and being as Michael. But in truth, they really don't have any, form or name. Okay. But it's a good way to continue. So you're asking if you have the ability to listen to them? It sounds like you already do.
I think so, but I don't know how to do it. The first time I have the journey, I was having in a group that we are starting to be a Wicca, the witches.
Mm-hmm.
And my teacher told me that I need to have a guidance in the sky and a guidance in the earth. My brother, he died many years ago. So in my heart, I say I want him to be my guidance in the sky. So in one meditation, I feel that I feel the energy in that time with it was cold or it was hot, and I can see I see him like coming near me, and suddenly he sits beside me in my bed, and I can feel how the bed bent down, and then I hear a dog barking, and he stands behind me, and it was awesome, but at the same time I was afraid. It was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
I don't know if I
Are you still
have
practicing
those
Wicca?
fears. Huh?
Are you still practicing Wicca?
I love all the celtas. I love fairies. I love all the magic.
Okay, wonderful. And so, yes, you do have a way to communicate, but what we'd invite you to do, so you're not afraid and you really are more discerning about what you're working with, is just to take advantage of the earth and get grounded in it and learn how to not interpret everything that you receive so much with the mind, because when you start thinking about what you see and thinking about what you feel, you lose connection to the energy. And so when you just learn to be, grounded in your body on the earth, when you do that, you're very much more aware of all the realms that there are. I don't care whether they're in the sky or the earth. You'd be very much aware of what is around you. And then through the art of learning how to listen rather than to ask, you then receive more of the information they're trying to give you. So, yeah, you certainly have a knack for this, and the fact that you love all of the ceremonies or whatever you do is wonderful. But all we're saying for you not to be afraid is to be more discerning, and the discernment will come with you learning how to really ground that energy down in the body. If something feels cold, it's typically not from the highest realms.
Why, Siobhan?
I don't know why. That's just been my experience, that it's just never been from the highest realms. It's been an emotional imprint here of a lower nature. So the cold comes. Sometimes that might just be how someone interprets, someone from the past. But I know that, I have a spirit talk coming up here this Sunday, and we just, we give readings to everybody that comes. We have a 22 limit to the crowd because I give a reading from someone who has passed in their life to every single person. So for 2.5 hours, we're just streaming spirit. And, when I've gone in and it's really fun and everybody, but it's from a very high vibrational frequency. When I've been in houses and things where there are things that have been happened, where there's trauma or drama, then the energy tends to be cold. That's how it lets me know that it's there. A soul is there. Is through cold. So it could be different. It's not the same for everyone. But but discernment is really key, and this is how I've learned to know what is afoot in my experience, is by grounding my energy without thinking and just allowing myself to be present to what is. And it will tell you. You just have to wait for it because the mind, it just wants to grab a hold of everything just wicked fast, and then it thinks, and then you've lost connection to the answer. So I think with everything you've got, just keep grounding, and you'll get better and better at this. There's nothing to be afraid of.
So, Siobhan, in your experience, when you experience heat or cold, if it's cold, is that when that soul needs to go into the light? And then when it's warm, is it because it's already in a higher realm, or how would you describe it?
Well, it depends. It depends. Like, as I prepare for these spirit talks that I do, there are energies around me all the time. And, there's energy around me all the time anyway, but you know what I mean? It's kind of preparing me to be able to deliver their messages. It tends to be of just a much lower nature. What was the question again?
Yeah, so when you experience a presence that is cold, do you help them go into the light?
Oh, okay. I don't do anything unless I'm asked. I don't see anything as needing to go anywhere. Okay. I see it as perfect the way it is. But if I'm in a situation where something is making itself known to me, then not through thinking or telepathy with this being, but through just listening to the silence within me, I know what I'm supposed to do or not in every single case, and every single case is different. There are, energies here that are very much entrenched. The soul that's left behind is very much entrenched, has a lot invested in being here. So I don't help anything unless it's really asking me to help it.
Yeah, then that's great advice, because what you're saying is you follow your intuition within you. You have the answer of what to do, and because many times what I have seen, and I've done it myself as well, is that you look for someone else's answers, and the answers are within, right?
Yeah, and I never took a class on any of this either. Spirit, my whole life, I was born this way, and I didn't even know I was a medium until they started calling it medium, because I've always been this way. I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, I pretty much thought I was crazy the first 20, almost 30 years of my life. But it's just because of my multidimensional experience, and I didn't understand what was happening, and so. So I didn't have anybody to talk to because I thought I was crazy initially. So how do you tell to everybody around you who certainly thinks you're a freak anyway? My whole life it was about, my mother not knowing what was wrong with me. It was always something wrong with Siobhan, because the energies around me, even before I even had a glimmer of who I was as the being that I am, it didn't know how to process the intensity of the energy in my environment. So I would get sick. My body would just get sick. And so, it was very hard for me to live not only in my household, but in the environments that I was in. And so, that's how my body dealt with all these things. And so there was no one to really talk to about it. It was just this internal experience the whole time. And then when I, woke up in 1988 and started playing around in intuitive development and things like that, it was still that way, because I was still kind of keep to myself and do these things. And there wasn't a whole lot of people in my environment that I could ever speak to. People kind of knew what I did, but I didn't discuss what I did with other people. It was something that I've always done because it's who I am, and then it became like a shingle. I hung a shingle to make it out there, to make it more available to people. And so, I just learned to listen because that's how I was trained. And in the biggest, one of the biggest jobs I've had in this work is Spirit. He always puts me in these situations. I mean, there was a time where people were, I was renting part of a house from somebody, and they kind of knew who I was or saw who I was and knew the work that I was in, and so they would rent it to me, and because they knew that there was something there. And I was kind of clueless at first, because I don't think that way. I don't try to use people like that. But, they would put me in a position, and then Spirit would kind of guide me. I would see what was there, and Spirit would guide me as to how I needed to deal with it. But in here, out here in Massachusetts, I ended up being put in a position with the job I had at the time, unbeknownst to me, to transform the energy of the Boston Strangler, and I had no clue. I don't look things up. I'm on a need-to-know basis, and that's really what works for me. You don't go looking for anything. I don't, because it always finds me, and then I just know what to do in the moment. And no case has been the same. Not one house, not one person, not one situation. And so it took probably 18 months to deal with that energy of the Boston Strangler. It took me a while to realize, because it unfolded what I was dealing with over time, because I don't think about it. Because as soon as you think, you're pushing against it, and that's what it wants you to do. And so you just let it be, and you let it be, and you let it be, and you just do what you're being called to do, and you don't, you learn how to build a real trust with your inner being, with your spirit in that way. You just really do. And so it's always within if you just learn how to listen. So the tools are really good to have. If this is your experience in the world, it's really good to have tools to work with, just so you feel at peace in different environments. But, when you're called to action, then at least me, it's like listen and obey is how I would describe it.
And Siobhan, if someone wants to work with you, can you share one more time how to reach you? And also, we want to let people know that you're coming back in June. Your next show is June 23rd. So just put it on your calendars. And can you share how to get in touch with you? And Do we go to that same website if we want to be part of the Sunday event?
Yes, there are like a few spots left. There's a couple of spots, let's see, probably 3 or 4 left. And you sign up, and it's live, but it's also over Zoom. So I address everybody on the Zoom and at the place that I'm doing the event. So you can get a hold of me. There's a couple of things I'd like to say, actually. I am on Instagram, which I would love you to go to my Instagram and like. So it is my name, Siobhan Nicolaou, TSOT, which is the Sword of Truth. So find me on Instagram and please like my page. On Facebook, it's Siobhan Nicolaou, the Sword of Truth, spelled out. Please like my page. If anyone would like to, to help me out with that, to grow this awareness of this wisdom and this consciousness, please do like my page. And anybody that, does that, I would like to gift them a code they can use for 15% off on any service or reading or anything that I have. So Siobhan Nicolaou, the Sword of Truth, Facebook. Siobhan Nicolaou, the Sword of Truth. I also have a YouTube channel, Siobhan Nicolaou, YouTube. And so go to the YouTube channel and you can hear me speak about different things, which is always fun. And please also subscribe to my page. And my name, SiobhanNicolaou.com, is my website. And if you'd like to sign up, be one of those spots, it would be great to have you there for the Spirit Talk. There's so much fun. I love these things. So it's S as in Sam, I-O, B as in boy, HANNICOLAOU. So thank you, all of your callers, all